Sis Lungile, I'm so honored to have you here. I've looked at a bit of your profile. It's a bit scary. We spoke off camera, and I want to congratulate you on how long you've been married for with your husband.
Thank you.
And yeah, discussing some of the sensitive political issues that we have in this country. But I'm honored to have you here. And I know you said we can speak about anything, but if you don't mind, maybe just a brief summary of your business and how you started it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for having me, Penwell. Really appreciate it. So my business, right? We started the business. When I say we, it's me, but in a plural sense, right?
Because now you have a full team.
Yes, because we have a full team now. We started operating in 2021, and it was during COVID, but the dream was, or the target was, actually looking for the unemployed youth out there that require skill, and then trying to just bridge that gap between them as well as corporates, because you find people or companies are saying we can't find the right fit for our junior positions. And then you find graduates. I mean, if you've been on social media a lot, you would see that graduates are saying, no, but I went to school, I have the degree, I have this, but I can't get opportunities. So our business is to try and bridge that gap. Let's introduce these two entities and see how we can build from there.
It's a scary business because it means people are going to be DMing you like crazy. You're basically saying young graduates can come to you and you'll try and help them get placed.
Correct.
I don't know how good your marketing is, but how sad are some of the stories and the desperation and the people that are looking for work? Because we've got a lot of young unemployed people.
It's so sad. I mean, like there was an instance recently, incident I'll call it, where we saw graduates or people coming to our offices to sign contract. When we asked them, how are you here? They're like, no, this guy said he's from here. We must come here to sign contracts. We're like, but we don't know that guy.
Yeah.
So now they ended up paying someone just for an opportunity.
Someone lied using your name?
Yes.
Jeez.
Yeah. And obviously when we said, because when you apply to us, you would receive an automated message to say, we will never ask you for money for any opportunity or anything. So if you just send us an email, you would receive that. Say, don't fall for those scams.
Yeah.
And the people that came to see us, they were so scared because they showed this person, but Initium is saying, this thing. And then that person obviously ran away now with their money.
If you guys are not collecting money from applicants or people you help, how do you guys get paid?
Corporates.
Okay.
Yes. So we don't get money from the individuals that come through to us.
Yeah.
We get money from the corporates because they're also, there's another, maybe discussion we could have about BBBEE because they have to spend money on skills development so that they can satisfy the BBBEE scorecard requirements.
Sure.
So because of that, and because now we have a bit of a track record of how we've been able to implement for the last few years, so they're happy to partner up with us because they know we're not running away with their money. So they're happy to give us the money so we can make the difference that we need to make.
Cheers. Thank you. I just want to greet Tubuhle and Sue who are in the room with us, before they think like we're kind of ignoring them. We're honored to have you guys here as well from the institution. Entrepreneurship becomes a big buzzword. And I remember the president, Cyril Ramaphosa, speaking about it. It annoyed me, by the way, when he said it. I think this might have been back in 2021 or somewhere there. He said, if you can't get a job as a graduate, look into entrepreneurship. I got angry. I was like, no one tells kids this in grade 1. Would you become an entrepreneur? You're telling them now that there's no jobs and you guys are meant to be sorting them out. In your opinion, how do you think we solve this gap, this entrepreneurship gap? So we obviously have graduates, they studied, but we don't have enough people creating institutions like yourself. So if you were to advise people, where would you maybe say we should start? Where should we be looking?
Primary school.
Right.
I'll give an example. My daughter's school, they have from grade 6 and grade 7, they have market day at their school where these kids must work together as groups to create a business plan to decide what they're going to sell. Yeah. And then after that, they must then have the capital. Obviously, we have to give them the capital. They put it together. Yeah, of course, from the parents.
You guys are the funders.
From the parents, but they say, you know what, one group cannot spend more than 1,000 rands. So they cap it, right? And then from there, then they sell, obviously. They must collate all that, put together, and then decide how much did we make. So from that, they're planning to say, okay, we're going to sell 1,000 bracelet, for instance. We spend 1,000 rands. We're going to make 2,000 rands. We need to buy a stall where we're going to sell. Our merchandise, need to do marketing because now people must come to us. So already they're teaching them those things from a young age. So imagine if that could be rolled out to most grade 6 and 7. I mean,
at your daughter's school, do you know how regularly they have market day?
every year.
Just once?
I think it's once a year.
Once a year?
But it's different grades, though.
Sure.
It depends on the grades. Yeah.
Would you suggest that that gets done more regularly?
Of course.
In the school?
Of course. But remember, they have to introduce them.
Sure.
So now you can't say, now in grade 6, we're going to do 4 market days, for instance, right?
Okay.
So for me, as an introduction, I'm happy with that. Like once a year, because there's that build up also to it and everything else and the planning. Because it's not a one-day thing. Remember, if you're going to have market day, you have to plan months in advance. So it's a teaching moment leading up to that goal.
Were you ever exposed in your upbringing to some type of entrepreneurial endeavors?
Of course.
Yeah.
My mom. My mom used to make us sell everything at school. It will be sweets, it will be scones, it will be this, it will be that. In high school, I mean, like
Not as part of the school program.
No.
It was your mom saying, go sell.
Correct.
Why would your mom ask you guys to do that?
Because we needed money.
It was needs based, not because she was trying to teach you anything.
No, I just think she just thought, you know what, you guys can sell to your friends and then bring the money. And like my mom was like that, like she would make things so that she could make extra money. I mean, I'm from a big family, like my mom and my dad, they were together as well. So there was a lot of us. We're 8 kids.
Jeez, from your parents?
From my parents.
Shout out to your mom. Shout out to your mom. Your dad, it's easy. Plants. Your mom has to bake. Shout out to your mom. Sure.
Really yes. So
8 of you.
Yes, there were 8 of us. And she was a teacher, full-time teacher.
Okay.
So obviously the extra money, it will help buy bread. Growing up, how you make things work. So she did. She made it work.
One of the things that makes me sad, you find a lot of success stories in entrepreneurship that are based on circumstance. So, and this is not a racial thing. For us, a lot of us, it's black people. But when you look at even white people and even internationally, they'll tell you, we didn't have this at home. So I started selling. I started doing a newspaper route, etc. For you guys, it was half needs. Like we need extra money. And the challenge, I guess, for some of us now as we get older is how do we take what is a need and circumstance and even for the more privileged kids say, please go and do this. It would become a privilege, even though maybe we wouldn't see it as that at the time. A lot of schools don't allow kids to sell. If they find out you're selling sweets, I know this is wrong. There are kids that sell cigarettes at break and after school. The schools shut it down and they're like, we've got a tuck shop. You can't do this. I don't know. Is there a conversation we should be having with schools? I know you've spoken about the market day and introduction, but especially at high school, should kids maybe have allocated days in the week or time after school to say, you guys can come sell instead of just saying, no, it's going to disrupt and distract the kids?
Okay. No, that's actually a good idea. Like give them allocated slots of when to sell. So that everybody has a chance. But anyway, not everybody will take their chance because other people are privileged, let's be honest. And I don't know, maybe way like back then, because I went to a township school, like township schools, they allowed us to sell and township economy. That's why sometimes I read why spaza shops are no longer South Africans because we used to literally just go buy like in Mpupu down the road and you're okay with that. See? So it's a conversation to be had, especially in the township schools because that's where most of us are. Most of us black people are there and there is a need for these things. Yeah. Of course, except cigarettes and weed.
No, of course. And I think they sell them a vape and I think some of them sell flavor. Maybe this is at varsity level for Yahabli. Because you really hope that once they sell at school, we have sports days on weekends. they sell there. I used to think that even churches, we speak about the education department and how they can do more. But even churches where you have church leaders that are progressive to say, look, I know the kids don't maybe have entrepreneurship at school, but at the church, we encourage you guys to help your kids come have a market after church, come sell your vegetables, your whatever it is, and we stimulate
that economy
in the church.
And that thinking. But also, as I said, I saw selling from my mom. Obviously, the business I'm in is not really, like product based. It's more a service, right? But I saw that growing up. That my mom would. Sure, that woman was so creative when it came to how to make money, really. And if us as well as parents, we could teach our kids maybe something like financial literacy even.
Yes.
But the challenge sometimes is sometimes we as parents are not financially literate.
That is true.
So then it becomes difficult to teach our children to be financially literate. So it's a catch-22 because at some stage we need to get to a point where our kids don't get into debt before they can even be adults, before they know how to adult, right? Kids shouldn't be running to open your Edgar's. Look, I remember when I went to varsity, right? Like in the first month, like how many stores came to help us open accounts.
I can imagine.
Because they
orientation
know
day, orientation week, they're there selling.
They're there selling because they're thinking, okay, now we've got a new crop for us to come and support us. But that if I knew better then, probably I wouldn't have gone through whatever else happens in life, right? And you find that a lot of young people will fall into that trap because these are 16, 17-year-olds, 18-year-olds that are opening accounts that they have never worked in their life. Probably they're not going to be working for the next 4 years because they have to focus on studying. But now they're already in debt.
You're making me wonder. I've never heard anyone consider this. How many kids get a negative credit record from varsity because they opened a phone account or a clothing account and come end of varsity because maybe their parents couldn't pay because you expect your parents to pay. How many of them actually have a negative? And if that's the case, it's probably something worth investigating.
Correct.
And saying we need to find out how these kids open these accounts so that we can clean that debt because they're going to work and they won't be able to get credit products.
Correct.
No.
Besides getting credit product, a lot of jobs will require you to have a clean ITC profile.
100%.
And if already you're in the negative while you're studying, do you know how difficult it is for you to then get a proper job when you get out there? See now, so there's a lot of stuff, like it's not about graduates also just sitting at home being unemployed, but there's a lot of other factors. Somebody can be very good. They go for an interview at a financial institution. There is no way you're going to work there with a terrible credit record. There are other, I used to work for air traffic control, right?
Air traffic control?
Yes.
Okay.
That's why I met my husband. And I remember when we started, they had to do a full credit profile, full credit. And then if you were in the negative,
it's game over.
It's game over. So a lot of industries don't want people because it's a security risk. If I cannot manage my money, how am I going to be able to manage other people's money?
Sure. You're not trustworthy. Yeah. I want to give a shout out to this lady. I sat with her earlier this year. I was happy Muhlala Bushumane. She runs a company called Sadie. She does accounting and tax, but she's written books that are geared towards financial literacy for children. And she's got children, and she believes that children should at least learn. They don't have to maybe be practically hands-on, but to learn from age 10 what a business is, income statement, and then take it from there. How do you feel that government is failing entrepreneurs that have now decided, whether they were literate or not, exposed or not, but you're like, look, either I had a job and I decided this, or I didn't have a job and this is all I could do. How do you feel government is maybe failing those people? Or do you feel that government is actually doing really well and I'm just negative on my own?
I think the government can improve. Actually, there's a lot of room for improvement when it comes to government.
Are they doing stuff in your knowledge?
Except the corruption side and all that, I'm not sure which positive side of it is actually that.
We've had a lot of funding agencies Umsobomvu, NYDA, NEF, SIFA now, IDC. It's rare to find people who are known. I was funded by government. I don't know if they do it because it's secret or they scared people. I don't know. So those success stories also don't land for some of us.
No. Okay. Personally, I don't know. I've never really been exposed to getting funding from the government.
Yeah.
So the only support I would say that maybe the government could try and provide for the entrepreneurs, right? Pay the entrepreneurs timely when they give an invoice. I don't know. I don't really work with government as such, right? And I think the other thing as well, there is too much corruption. I mean, there was this stage of in Mpumalanga, I think you remember there were 22 laptops that were bought for like more than $1 million, right?
I saw that story.
For 22 laptops. And like, how is that even possible? Unless obviously I'm not, I don't know, I was not part of that transaction. Unless there is, like a cut for Penuel, a cut for Lungile, a cut for Sue, and then I'm only left with this much as a entrepreneur. So it cannot happen on a clean day. And it's a norm now that in order for you to get a business through government, you have to pay other people for you to get in there. So I think that space needs to be a bit more open. And we need to also get to a point where we can upskill these entrepreneurs. Like you just said now, you said you stop working now. You said, no, I'm going to be an entrepreneur. But do you have the skills to get there? Who can then, like NYDA used to be great, but I don't know, they went by the wayside somehow, right? But, and that is also for youth also. It's not for everybody, right? It's if you're under 35. So if you're over 35, then who supports you? Where do you learn?
Lapo, you've got kids.
Lapo, you have kids.
Dependents.
You have a house to pay off. You have a car to pay off. You have to, like there's a lot of stuff. So where do you go as an entrepreneur who's mature, who's starting out, who's teaching you about that balance sheet? That when the money comes into the bank account of the company, that doesn't mean you're going to swipe it for your friends over the weekend, but that is for the operations of your business. Who's going to teach them that if the government is not there? Okay.
Sorry, I'm just... the thing I was saying about we don't have like success stories that we know. That's number one. Number two, even I'll call them celebrity entrepreneurs that we have. We've obviously had about Drip, Nabo Patu, Tsepo Jeans, we've heard about DJ Spoo.
Yes.
I've never heard it from them, but I mean, that would sound like low-hanging fruit. You're a government that is trying to fund up-and-coming entrepreneurs. Here are businesses that are known. Like, go to them and be like, look, we would like to work with you. Because you probably create jobs, etc. That's the second thing. So go and find the celebrity entrepreneurs or the known ones or the ones that are sitting on podcasts and be like, Siswam, we saw you sitting with pen. How can we help you? Because it's there. You don't have to be like, you guys are not applying. You're like, but you see us. Come and find us. And then after that, if there are going to be success stories, then the next thing becomes, and look, it can be paid. Government can say, we've funded you, we've helped you, we've trained you. Please, can you come and help others? Yeah. We're going to send people to you because we need you to show them how you got funding, how you didn't know what financial statements were, and we sorted you out. Why a business bank account is important, and we don't have that culture. If anything, we have, outside of corruption and bribes, we've got a culture of gatekeeping. The few people that sort of make it through that door never ever send the lift down or the ladder down for anyone else.
Yeah. Well, which is sad, actually, when you think about it.
Yeah.
Actually, you just mentioned something as well now, Pen. You said that, people say you don't apply. Where are they broadcasting these messages except for the, like, I know somebody who knows somebody?
Yeah.
Why is it being secret that, like there is a funding? Funding is available in this space. So the government needs to be more open and transparent when it comes to those things. Yeah. I'm looking for funding. Okay. What funding do we have available and what are your requirements? There is now, 100 billion or is it 100 million for the Spaza Shop initiative that
500.
is out?
I think it's 500 million.
See now.
I stand to be corrected. But yeah, it's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money.
Yeah.
Who's going to know where that money is going? How it's being used? I mean, like, you could give all that money to one or two people because
Sure.
they're connected, you know?
Yeah, 500
gosh.
million.
Yeah. Can you see now? So much money is out there. That means we don't have an issue with money as South Africa. We just have the issue with the will of the government to actually uplift its people.
Yeah. You spoke about you don't work with the government. May I ask why?
Okay, so when I started out, well, I didn't have the funding from anywhere else. We actually self-funded the business when we started out.
Okay.
And it
This was from your salary, loans. You said you were in air traffic controller.
From my yes.
Savings, salary.
Yes, from my savings.
Did you take out any loans?
No, I did not.
Okay, from savings.
It was savings.
Okay.
Yeah, it was savings because I stopped working altogether.
By choice?
Yes, I resigned.
Okay.
No. I left. I resigned to serve my notice.
I remember
and
SAA
everything.
around those times, and especially because it was struggling, they let go of a lot of people.
Oh,
okay. So I thought maybe it might be something linked to that.
No, different companies, and I was no longer with the navigation services at that stage.
Navigation services,
air traffic and navigation services. I was somewhere else.
Okay.
But then I resigned and I started with all the savings we had in the pocket. Okay, so the reason was because knowing that the government really doesn't pay timely.
You knew that already?
Well, it's known. Who doesn't know that government doesn't pay timely when you invoice them?
No, this is important. You're saying that's the story that's known. So it would sort of scare you.
Correct.
Without maybe even trying.
Yes.
And that's something that needs to be fixed.
Correct.
Okay, so you knew they don't pay on time.
Yes.
And that became a problem.
And I couldn't afford that because I was just starting out and I couldn't afford to use all the capital I had to service the government and not get paid timely. Let me put it like that. So I couldn't afford that, right?
Okay.
And then later on, as time went on, then it was more about the kickbacks, the corruption. So I honestly always just try and run away from.
They've got a negative reputation.
The government. I think for me, because I just wanted to be above board.
Yeah.
Let me put it like that. And I don't want to have the hawks knocking on my door at 4 o'clock in the morning because I took 100 million from the 500 spaza shop money and I misused it. And for me also, I just wanted to make a difference. I didn't want to start something today and not be able to continue with it because I overextended what little I had without getting there.
Would you take money from the government in funding? Would you work with the government?
I would if there are clear deliverables. I like very clear.
So you're still a bit nervous about working with them?
Of course.
That's sad, right?
It is sad, but I am still very much nervous about that.
Yeah.
And the fact is just because of, I'm just scared of all the corruption and everything else that could go wrong and then have my name. As I said, I have 2 children. I don't want my kids to think that their mom was corrupt or in any way.
Or was corrupted or was linked to someone who is corrupt. Isn't that your friend that you work with?
Yes. So for me, it's more about just safeguarding my own legacy and my own self and making sure that I'm clean. If I were to partner up with government and they came up with very clear deliverables of what is required from me and clear in sense like you do this, you invoice us, we pay you, we move on, you these are the deliverables we're looking for from you, I'm happy with that because that's what we do with all our clients. We are very clear about what we can do for them and what they need from us. Yeah. So it's not a surprise that we cannot do that.
When I said to Tusis happy, she said she'd gone into tenders and then she left and 2 concerns were raised. So I don't think she mentioned the one about being paid late, but I've heard it a lot in the circles where some of the businesses end up being crippled. Cars get repossessed. We're not even talking fancy cars. We're talking your bakkie to work. Yeah. Rent at your business premises are not paid because government is delaying payments. She spoke about men and being inappropriate. And then she also spoke about the dangers of finding yourself fronting, being asked to do this. There's something that she'd submitted for. And she said someone who was not even linked to where she applied was like, hey, look, we can give you this thing if you're willing to make sure that our guys get this. And she's like, I don't even know who you are. So I'd rather not. Cabanga, I'm applying to a government department and a random pen is like, oh, siswa mo Lungile. Yes. No, yazini, we need you to what, but please submit through. You're like, I don't know who you are. This doesn't look official. And that made me very sad.
Yeah.
Do you trust corporates compared to government?
Correct.
And in the space you're in, because you're saying you haven't worked with government, do you ever have to interact with men? And is there ever any inappropriateness?
Okay. So to answer you, I trust corporates more than government, as I said. I mean, like, they're the ones who have supported us until now.
Sure.
And obviously, for me, that is great because you believe in what you're doing and everything else, right? I don't really deal a lot with men in general, right? Or even the government officials. Actually, personally, I don't really deal a lot with men. There are a few that we end up dealing with, but they haven't been inappropriate, because if they were, I would just open my mouth and tell them where to kanda.
Get off.
Correct.
Okay.
I'm not scared to say, this doesn't sound right.
Yeah.
Please try next door. It's okay. As I said, for me, my reputation is very much important.
Yeah.
And I don't want anybody being scared of being associated with me, because,
You have strong morals, it seems. You're married. We've spoken about it. So your morals are also linked to how do my children view me. You're married. There are young girls from poorer backgrounds. Okay, you had savings as well. You were able to self-fund. There are young girls from poorer backgrounds. They don't have savings. They've never worked anywhere. Hey, morals become negotiable when times are rough. What advice would you give them when, whether it's government or corporate, men are like, hey, look, no, listen, let's do something, my dear. Let's have a meeting in the evening here close to what. Let's go away for the weekend and discuss business. You sound like an ambitious girl.
The barter system.
What advice would you give those girls? Because you're saying you know how to tell men where to get off. But to me, it sounds like morals. You have a husband and you have a privilege, in inverted commas, of you had savings and you could self-fund. For the next girl, she's like, look, I do have morals. I'm not married. I don't have savings. I never worked. I'm desperate. We're hungry at home. We're very poor. I come from a squatter camp. Don't judge me. This guy asked me for something and I'm just about to say yes. And I'm watching this podcast and Usis Lungile is about to give me advice. What should I do?
That's a difficult one, because, when you're hungry, sometimes, I don't know. I haven't been in that position. So for me, I wasn't privileged. I was very, okay, maybe not very poor, but I didn't have as much as other people growing up.
Yeah.
But when it comes to the morals, it's honestly something that is embedded in you. And whoever can say whatever they say, you can't change your mind. Your morals is not something you can change at any stage. When you are looking, you are hungry. I mean, and you have your CV, you have your things. Send me an email. I will look after that, but obviously not 1,000 people. We can't do that. Send us an email. We can try. I know we can't realistically, but send us. We are there to give you opportunities that are there. But I'm sure there are places where you can be assisted, guys. I mean, there are charities that deal with those things where they can help you with food and all that stuff. There are charities out there.
Are you saying we shouldn't excuse those girls who are using that story?
No.
You're like, no, morals should not be negotiable. And if you're telling me you're hungry, why is sleeping with a man the solution when you can go somewhere else?
I mean, are you going to get full? I mean, you're going to sleep with one today, then he's going to give you 500 rands, whatever he's going to give you.
Yes.
But it's going to finish. So how many men are you going to sleep with?
As many as I need to get ahead.
Okay. And then?
And then hopefully I won't need to anymore.
But are you getting ahead though? Or somebody's just using you while you're still nice and fresh and can think and you have an opportunity out there. I mean, sometimes it feels like we're judging people. When I always say to people, why are you rushing to have children when you're not financially stable? I know people maybe might think I'm judging people, but honestly, for me, maybe because I waited until I was financially stable and I had a better plan for my life. Right? But I always feel like we've as Black people, I'm going to say that. I mean, even the other colors, they have their own issues as well. We've gotten to a point where we've normalized kids having kids. We've normalized, I mean, like, whereas when somebody's like 27 doesn't have a child, it's like, oh, when are you going to have a child? Dude, I'm not married at 27. I'm just starting probably my first job because I was at varsity. I'm starting my own job, my first job, so I need to stabilize myself and then get into that. So we've normalized that where kids are just having kids.
Yes.
And it's not normal. We cannot normalize that. It isn't normal, guys. And it's not just that, but we're disadvantaging the next generation. Because if I'm 17 and I'm having a child at 17, this child now, I have to leave this child with Ugogo or whoever. And now this child is not growing up. Chances are at 17, you're not going to get married to that guy that even made you pregnant.
Yes.
You were just playing around, right? And now this child is going to grow up without a mother or a father because the mother has to go as a msebenzi and start working out there. The father, obviously, God knows where the father is going to end up. But now this child is growing at home with the grandma. And the grandma has already worked hard, like putting you through school and actually, raising you. Now you're giving them more burden.
Yes.
So they can't even enjoy their old age, sitting there, eating the chocolates or whatever you can buy for them. They're not enjoying. It's just more responsibilities. So we need to start being accountable for our action as people.
Yeah.
And we cannot keep blaming things that happened a long time back, or because this is something that you're deciding to do right now. It has no bearing. I know we were oppressed for the longest of time as Black people, right? But I cannot say I'm having a child at 17 and I'm going to go and blame apartheid. That happened. We're still trying to come out of that right now as Black people. But the choices we're making now, I'm not going to get into trouble. The choices that we make now, that's your life.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to stop.
Apartheid made me go sleep with him and have his babies. No. You mentioned something interesting, that you waited until you were financially stable to have children. How do you define that for yourself and just in general? Because someone's like, okay, I also want to wait till I'm financially stable. Okay. But what does that actually mean?
So for me, it was when I had my 12-year-old now, my firstborn, it was, the decision was, if my husband were to walk out of me now, would I afford this child by myself?
That is how you measured it?
Yes.
And I'm sorry to go personal. I want to go a step back. You mentioned your mom. She was a school teacher and she did a lot to make ends meet. She was creative, you said. And she encouraged that you guys go and sell at school. You never mentioned your father.
Oh, yes.
The reason I asked this is because I'm wondering if there's a trauma to you saying, if my husband leaves me, I must be able to take care of these kids alone. No. Your mom wasn't raising you guys by herself?
No. My dad, they were married, right? And my dad was working at platinum mines here in the Rustenburg.
Okay.
And then I'm from KZN, right? In a small little town, no one ever knows it. Paul Peters Dumbe, you know? So we were staying there with mom full time.
Your dad was in Rustenburg.
Okay,
working in the mines. The classic apartheid story. My dad went to work in the mines.
Yes. Okay. So for me, it's mostly about my mom.
Okay. Your dad sent money home?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Brilliant.
So, as I said, we were not that poor. But growing up, we didn't have much, you know?
And number 8.
So 8. And manje, you know, like you look at, when I look back now and I'm hearing people that grew in our surrounding, they thought we were rich. And I'm thinking, but we didn't, guys, do you even know? But my mom taught us to always hold your head up high, right? Don't ever and I always tell people, even if you are stressed, don't look like your problems. Don't let the whole world know that you are down and out.
Sure.
That time when you're going through the most, that's when you must look your best.
Sure. So that's when the opportunities are going to come.
Correct. So
shout out to your mom, man. Industrious people never look like they're struggling, but like they'll tell you the work I have to put in. So your measure was, I need to be able to afford my child or my children by myself if ever anything happens. So one of them could be my husband leaves, life happens, he could pass away, and it's, can I take care of these kids by myself? And now I'm ready. And
live the same lifestyle that they're accustomed to.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing horrible than getting your children used to a certain lifestyle,
Yes.
and then you have to downgrade that lifestyle. Or going up is good, but you cannot once you can obviously if situation,
Life,
but if you can plan it, then let's do that. I think that's why also there's such a gap between my firstborn and the secondborn, because when my first son was not even a year old, I went to study full time. I stopped working. I went to study full time. And then I waited. After that, I waited until I was again financially secure to have the second child.
There's a certain lifestyle you wanted for your kids. Correct. I'm going back to be able to afford, because affordability is relative.
Correct.
You picked a certain lifestyle and you're like, I need to be making X amount of money to sustain.
Correct.
So if someone had a higher level benchmark, they would maybe have to wait longer or work harder. If it was lower, then maybe in your situation, if you wanted a cheaper lifestyle for them, you would have had your kids earlier, type of situation.
Probably. Yeah.
Okay.
It just depends on what are your goals? What do you want to do with your life?
Yeah.
What is okay for you might not be okay for me, might not be okay. What is okay for me might be very basic to another person. Yeah. So it's just about yourself. As I said, I was financially ready, and I'm lucky enough that I didn't need to be, because I have a partner that could support me and make sure that, I'm okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of my favorite CEOs in general, but specifically female, is Indra Nooy. She used to be the CEO of PepsiCo. She stepped down now. She's got some of the greatest interviews across. If you ever go on to TikTok is the easiest. Indra Nooy, PepsiCo interviews. One of the questions she was asked a lot, because she was a CEO of a huge multinational company, was the whole concept of work-life balance, being a mom and she answers very frankly. She's very funny as well, very smart. She's like, you can't have it all. She's like, women must know you can't have it all. Once you run a business, and look, you don't have to be CEO of PepsiCo. You can have a small business. It takes a lot from you. Yeah. And then if you're going to be married and you're going to have kids, you have to be a mother, you have to be a wife. Because she's Indian, she'll also speak about the Indian experience where now your mother-in-law starts judging you. And she tells you, hey, listen, you can be CEO there in the streets, but here you are a wife. And she says you can't have it all. In your experience, would you agree with that? Is it possible to balance work, be a mom and a wife, or do you feel that there has to be some level of sacrifice? Again, we spoke to the girls who are about to make bad decisions. Now this is the women who are killing it in the workspace, who have started businesses, who are running businesses, who are CEOs. They're like, okay, let's hear what she has to say. Can you have it all, or is there some type of cost that comes to killing it, at least in making money?
I think you can have it all, actually. Well, I do at this stage, so I can't say you can't. You can. However, there are a lot of other support structures that need to be there for you, right? Like I'm sitting here, my husband had to pick up the kids from school, right?
Shout out to him, by the way.
Thank you. So it's your support structure that needs to be in place, right? So you can have it all. It's just you need to be clear. Your partner, also be very transparent with your partner what it is that you need from him for support. So for me, it's more about communication. Well, most of the time. I'm not saying it's going to be smooth sailing, guys. Please don't get me wrong. It takes a lot to build a business. And it takes a lot to build a marriage, a relationship. And it takes a lot to parent kids as well, because they are obviously looking up to you. They want, like now when I go home, my son will probably say, oh, today you are late, mommy, coming home. But it also involves you being able to maybe not go partying anymore, because now you have to build something. I mean, for the longest of time, I was not going out with my husband on weekends. We were not doing anything because we had small children. I was busy building a business. And so there is that give and take. It's just about prioritizing what is a priority to you. Yeah.
I'm sorry to be personal. Would you describe your husband as a traditional man or as a modern man? I say this because you've got a lot of Upuma KwaZulu, so you'd know. Traditional black men like this whole, no, phela mina ngindoda ngeke. Why am I fetching kids? Why am I? No. Akabuye ekhaya azogada ingane. Would you say it's traditional or modern? And I ask this in the context of, if you're an ambitious woman, is this something you need to be considering? That, look, maybe I shouldn't get the most traditional man and look for a man who believes in partnership and.
Well, he's not a lot traditional.
Okay.
He is very much hands-on in the way we raise our kids.
Yeah.
So he's not sitting there waiting for me to come home so I can cook him dinner. If he's there home before me, he would make sure that we have something to eat when we all at home.
Yeah.
So we working together. It's more a partnership.
Sure.
We working together. He knows where I am. It's not like I'm out there having a party when he is busy at home doing whatever he needs to do.
Yeah.
But he knows I'm out there building our own legacy, because it's not just mine, it's his as well. Because if he wasn't there, it will be very difficult for me to build what I'm building. Yeah.
Does he work a 9 to 5? Is he in business as well?
No, he is at air traffic control.
Oh, where you guys met?
Yes, that's where we met.
Okay.
So he's still working there.
You did say.
Yes, he's still working there.
I don't even know if you're the right person to ask this, but I'll ask anyways.
Okay.
Do you have any views on feminism and women empowerment? The reason I'm saying I don't know if you're the right person to ask is, some people have a view that these things have destroyed families. They were brought in with the intention of ensuring that men and women are fighting. The whole concept of women empowerment is go and kill it in the work environment, so that you're taken away from your husband and being a wife and being a mother. Do you have any views on that? Do you agree? Do you disagree?
I completely disagree. That had not been. I feel like I'm empowered. You know, like when you're empowering women or feminism, it does not say now stop being a woman or now you must go out there and hate men. It's just we're trying to, same thing now about BBBEE, which we can touch on, right? We're trying to balance the scales, because for the longest of time, women were not counted, right?
Yeah.
There was only men.
You're almost like our firstborn children, but you were below us as
Correct.
men.
We were below you. But now the feminism and the women empowerment is to say, let's try and level the playing field. That does not mean, obviously we can all misinterpret something, right? But that is not what it's meant to be. It's not meant to be, oh, Peniel, I hate you because you're a man. Oh, I can't give you a promotion at work because you're a man, but I'm going to go and find a woman who is incompetent, and because they're women, then I'm going to promote them, kind of thing. But it's more, let's level the playing field. Let's give women a voice. Let's empower these women. For me, I love women empowerment. Actually, I love women. Okay, maybe because I'm a woman. I love women. I love being able to work with women and building up other women.
Yeah.
And the women I'm building up is not people that are only married. I have a lot of single people. I have a lot of young ones that are coming up. It's not about you going, go hate, don't do this thing. Yeah. It's all about individuals. What do you want to do? How can we help you get where you need to get to?
You spoke about misinterpretation.
Yes.
Do you think we're doing enough to train boys and men to understand feminism and women empowerment, that it's not an attack on them? Do you think we're training young girls and women enough to be like, look, just because you're a boss doesn't mean now you must go around shifting your weight and telling men, well, look at my car. It's your success, but you're still a woman. He's still a man. So when you guys are together, it's not about you flexing other things which don't have to do with, let's say, your relationship.
Well, we don't even care, actually. Like for me, if you're a woman, you have your things. Like I said, for me, to have children and to be with my husband, it was, can I afford these children on my own? That had nothing to do with women empowerment. It had nothing to do with feminism. It was about me as an individual.
Yeah.
Can I do it without having to make myself small?
Yeah.
Sometimes as women, we feel we have to make ourselves small so that the man next to us can feel like a giant.
Yeah.
Right.
That's sad.
Which is sad. But empowerment means I'm me. You must take me as I am. And if we can build a life together, then let's do it.
Yeah.
But we are in partnership. You're not above me, but we are a partnership.
before we touch on triple BE, you've mentioned it twice, which means it's important to you. I don't know if I'm allowed to ask a personal question.
Of course.
Of the 8 kids, I'm assuming they were boys.
Yes.
And I wanted to ask, in your personal opinion, if the boys took up this entrepreneurship as much as, let's say, yourself. I ask this because there are so many stories of mothers, single mothers, who are very industrious, who sell, who... I don't know if we hear enough of the men and the fathers doing the same. My own mother would sell. My father, on the other hand, who did a lot of things on the side, he wasn't monetizing, whether it was breeding dogs, coaching, soccer. He wasn't. My mom would sell secondhand clothes. She'd sell things at weddings. We lived next to a park where people took pictures. I find that women become very industrious. The selling of scones, amagwinya, the hawkers, the plate, catering. Do you, in your family, without maybe mentioning your siblings, but do you find that the boys, and when you look outside there, do you find that men are taking this on, or it's imbalanced where it seems the women are taking advantage?
No, I mean, like in my family, out of the 8, there were 2 boys.
Sure.
Right? My older brother, he was very much an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
He was selling everything under the sun.
Sure.
He ended up, they say supplying stationery at schools and everything else, like that beginning of the year where he was very busy selling. So definitely went entrepreneurial route.
Sure.
Yeah. And my younger brother as well.
Yeah.
He is also in that line, entrepreneurship. Okay. So I think it's stuck.
Do you think the stories of men are maybe not being told?
Maybe they're not being told. You know, or maybe we just assume that you guys are going to tell your own stories, So maybe you need to talk to more men. You ask me a question, how are we, like I have a son. How am I going to tell my son that the girls are not against you? It's just a balancing act. But then that is where families come in. That is where, like, I need to treat my daughter and my son the same. Growing up, my brothers had more freedom than we did. And thank God for that also, because it kind of like kept us in line as girls. It did keep us in line because we were not jumping the gate or anything else. Sure. I mean, you needed to be home by 6 o'clock. A girl is not outside.
Sure.
Ingane ayihambe ebusuku. Into ingane ntombazana ayihambe ebusuku.
Yes.
Lungile. Ingane ntombazana ayihambe ebusuku. 6 o'clock usekhaya. Yeah. So those are the things that growing up, I appreciate it now. But obviously at that stage, I was not happy about it. I also wanted freedom. Right. But that's where then the family teachings come into place.
And sadly, this is where our families are falling short. You spoke about financial literacy, and now it's difficult to expect your parents to teach you about what they don't know.
Correct.
So similarly, if you're looking for a father to teach the sons, like your husband, he can be an example and a role model for your son. But if he's absent, if he's not there, where does he learn? If you also, your mom, let you be in the streets, how do you become a role model for your daughter?
Own children,
You mentioned triple BE twice.
Yes, I did.
Something's burning inside you.
No.
What's burning?
I just keep trying to reference to it. Nothing is really burning. Yes, I saw actually your tweet saying you want to scrap triple BE. You must tell me why you want to scrap triple BE.
Why are you getting serious?
No, I'm not. I'm like, Penwell must tell us why you want to do this.
Let me give context. So you mentioned triple BE twice because you're speaking about equalizing. I think that was the context you raised it in.
Yeah.
I've got mixed feelings, by the way. It's not that I'm married to one idea. And even the tweet was meant to spark conversation more than anything. One of my first mentors when I came to Johannesburg was a gentleman by the name of Vuyo Jack. He's responsible, I think, along with Chow Chow. They were at WITS. They became CAs. I think they went to Moody's in London, if I'm not mistaken, and they learned about ratings agencies. They came back to South Africa and they were fascinated what a ratings agency and an exchange is. And at the time, Black economic empowerment was a buzzword. It was how do we measure whether people are complying, if they're really empowered, and they became the creators of the BEE scorecard, as it were. And then it would go into government. They would create a company called EmpoweredX, which became the first BEE ratings company. Many would come thereafter. And when he mentored me, he explained this whole concept. Years later, he'd be angry. He'd be one of the angry guys saying he believes BEE failed. I think he referenced something like 480 billion rand has been created by BEE, and 80% of it has ended up back in white hands. So he feels like it failed. Recently, Prof. William Gumet, if I'm not mistaken, wrote a piece. I haven't read it. Disclaimer. I haven't read it where he gave an arbitrary number that R1 trillion has been generated and it's gone to the same 100 people. We obviously know the faces of BEE.
Correct, yeah.
A lot of white people, a lot of racist white people want BEE scrapped for their own nefarious reasons. I'm against that. I'm against scrap BEE because white people can't get jobs. And no, you must give us like a fair argument. And they're like, no, there's no economic growth. But as black people, before we get emotional, we need to unpack. What are they trying to say?
Yeah.
So firstly, and I remember responding to Aaron's roots around this. BEE has 7 pillars for people that don't know. So this is for the benefits of the audience. BEE has 7 pillars. The 2 that probably get highlighted with looting and corruption are ownership, which is owning equity in companies. And that's where we see the same faces. Yeah. Then there's preferential procurement, which we know as amatenda, tenders. There's problems there. There's one which I'm sort of about called management control. In a company, are there black, colored, Indian women managers who have some type of decision-making power? The reason I'm whatever about it is because the ANC and other government people have sent their people to go and become managers in companies and executives, and in the same way they do with ownership. Some of it is good. Some of it, they send incompetent people. Yeah. A form of catered deployment. Then you've got others, and one that I'm very passionate about is employment equity. Now, you might be like, BEE's done nothing for me. And I'm like, do you know that the company you work in, they hired you because you are black? They hired you because you are female. No, but I qualified. I know. You deserve it. But I'm telling you now, that company would have never hired you if they didn't need to meet a certain benchmark, score, whatever the case may be. Yeah. So that gave you an opportunity. You now work, you now have experience, you now can. That was BEE. Yeah. Another one becomes, you spoke about a skills development, where companies are charged a skills development levy. That skills development, we can argue that some people chow it in various ways, but it's meant to upskill. Correct. When we speak about skills, there's a budget that is meant to upskill like shorter corner, because companies are levied. You can't say there's a shortage of IT technicians. AP skills development levy so that we can train these people. Yeah. And then there's one that people maybe don't even think about at all called socioeconomic development. ESD. Oh, there's enterprise supply development. Supply development.
Correct. That's the another one.
Enterprise supply development, where you subcontract or companies outsource work to you?
No. So it's big. Okay. So let me just touch on that. Big companies, right? So they're meant to assist young or small businesses so that they can build their capabilities, so that they could obviously learn and, grow and create employment.
Enterprise supply development.
So there is enterprise development. So if you maybe say we working with you, you're saying, okay, now we want skills development, right? Maybe you're going to start us as your enterprise development because we are small, you want to grow us.
Sure.
So the plan is you grow us as an enterprise development company under you because you're supporting us. And that support doesn't need to be necessarily monetary. It could be you providing laptops so that our operations would work. You're giving us skills. We spoke about new entrepreneurs not having the skills to run a business. So maybe it's one of those where they can teach you how to run a business. Yeah. It could be anything, any
office
support.
Space.
It could be office space. It could be marketing. It could be anything, just helping you set up. That's enterprise development. So the plan is once those enterprise development are grown enough, then they can supply the big business with their products or services. Yeah. So then they would be able then to graduate you from enterprise to supplier.
Dope. And then socioeconomic development, investing mostly, hopefully, in communities where you operate and the like. Yeah. So when people judge BEE, I'm aware that there are pillars. And people normally focus on equity, which is where the guys chow money, and preferential procurement. Now, why would I even argue that BE should be scrapped? Is because of those two, of course, and maybe management control to some degree. We haven't seen at least the ownership of the economy really, really transform. We haven't seen the companies, Shanduga, Mvelapanda, ARM, Safiga, whatever you can think of. We haven't seen them really impactfully build, industrialize in a way where we like, they built these factories or the type of situation. We haven't seen the entrepreneurs, at least the black ones. We haven't seen them build schools and hospitals where we're like, hey, no,
which is quite sad.
Yeah, which is quite sad.
We've seen people. I mean, like I think I saw the Gauteng Premier opening up like there are gonna be malls again. Like when I see somebody saying malls, it's like we cannot be consumers forever. If you had told me, no, we're opening a factory, we're going to be, I would have been so happy because that means we're building industries.
100%.
So for me, it's like, you're right in that sense that there is an aspect of BBBEE that needs re-looking at.
Yes.
That I agree with you. Because the fact that people are black, that doesn't mean they must own other companies.
Yes.
You need to build your own company and build it from the scratch.
Yeah.
The other support pillars where maybe you can attach yourself with a company that can assist you, build up your brand, build up your company. I totally agree with that. Management control, I would hate to, a lot of companies have a lot of middle management that are all black.
Black, yeah.
And then you go to the top senior management, it's all pale-skinned people, right? So if we don't have those management controls, believe me, it will be very hard to go in there until people, they have to go out the other way. If we don't have that management control, we'll always be at that level.
That's as far as you'll be allowed to go.
Correct.
This happens with women a lot, where they're given a ceiling. You can't get into the boys' club at the top.
Yeah.
Employment equity would be my most sensitive one, where I'm like, forget ownership, forget preferential procurement, forget even skills development. If we just focus on employment equity and we say we need to hire black, colored, Indian, female employees, assuming businesses do the right thing, which is always a gamble, they are now forced to ensure that they have skilled people. So it's like, find them. No, but we can't. Well, make sure that you give bursaries and whatever on your own because you need them.
But you just scrapped skills development. How are they going to give bursaries now if you scrap skills
out
development?
of their profits? This becomes a challenge for them to say, you want a government tender, you want government funding. Go do it. We're not going to ask you because you're going to complain. Go do it yourself. And my whole thing was, if you get black, colored, Indian, female employees that are being paid fairly, they should be able on their own to then start buying shares. They should be able to, this was my assumption at the get with employment equity. But then I was like, what if I scrap employment equity as well? Because when I say scrap BEE, I'm arguing Susegonke.
Panel, I will, you know what, I don't agree with you when it comes to that.
Before you disagree, let me close.
Okay, close.
What BEE in essence does from 1996, I think it was enacted, but let's say from 94. I'm not sure when it was enacted, 96, 98, whenever, right? Because 94 came and then they set a commission and then they started writing laws because there was affirmative action before we had black economic empowerment.
It was more like in the 2000 when it was now BBBEE.
And then so BEE became triple BE, broad-based.
Yes, correct.
What we in effect doing is we are asking, begging white businesses to include non-white people. And for me, there's something undignified in that. And I see it in schooling, where we're begging good established white schools to take our kids in. We're looking into suburbia where we're fighting with our white neighbors to not be racist and to allow us, versus we've now negotiated, but we've taken over, we've voted for a black government. A black majority government, 1994 with Mandela, is meant to be unapologetic. It's not meant to be begging. What that means is that if they have a budget of 2 trillion rand, they can unapologetically say, oh, we're going to give this business to Lungile. No, but she doesn't have the capacity. And it's fine. She'll go find it. But we're not going to ask the white company to please bring her on board and to please. We're not. She can decide which white company she wants to work with, apprentice with, what. But the contract is hers. The business is hers. In the same way, when you have 500 Rand in your pocket and you're going to buy groceries, it shouldn't be that you get to a shop where you're made to feel like they're doing you a favor. You should get to a shop where we are being what. It's my money. I'm giving you. If you don't have the product, please go get it. But I'm going to buy it from you. And I think if we were to scrap BEE, number one, what I guess we could call white racist arrogance would have to fall. I know it won't, because the bigger issue we have is government. But let's assume not the government we have. The white racist arrogance needs to fall, because we're saying, oh, these are the people that voted for us. You didn't vote for us. You voted for whoever you voted for, and that's good for you. You can go and ask them. Tina, the people that voted for us are entrusting us to make decisions. And we're not going to beg you, shame. Because when I look at, I love studying the National Party and how Afrikaners lifted themselves up against the British. I stand to be corrected because I don't know it in detail. I don't remember them begging the British to set a scorecard. Do you have enough Afrikaans people here? No, but we need Africa. It feels like it was unapologetically, we will take this money. We will build Afrikaans schools. We will build Afrikaans universities. We will capacitate Afrikaans entrepreneurs, Afrikaner industrialists. And you British guys, if you still want to be in business, must go and find nice Afrikaans people that still want to work with you. Which I think is what it was meant to be, but it wasn't. And I think at the time when it was devised, because I think Anglo-American, Sanlam and some of the big corporates, I think they hoodwinked the politicians to be like, Sizonfaga.
In 1948. Oh, you're saying now.
I'm saying when they negotiated this thing. Because also, the other problem with BEE, which we don't discuss, is we want to transform the economy. We need partners. Why would you partner with politicians and not business people?
Correct.
Which means you guys are up to no good. We can't try to transform the Springboks. But you're like, no, only politicians' children can play here.
Correct.
So for all those reasons, that's why I tweet. And then it's meant to then become a debate.
Remember, the politicians are meant to be more regulators and more at that level. And then the rest 100%. Of the stuff is supposed to be happening now here.
Yeah.
So now when they are both judge and jury, really, they have decided this is how they're going to do it, and then they're going to put their own people there. So, of course, it's not working.
Yeah.
Okay. So, for me...
You agree that BE is not working on some of the pillars?
Some.
Which ones do you have a problem with?
Okay. Some, for me, I would think ownership...
Sorry. Bali, are you happy with the sound? Should she come closer to the mic?
Should I come closer?
Yes. Sorry.
Okay.
I just want to make sure you're audible.
Oh, okay. Some of them are not working. The tenderpreneur system, I don't see how it's working.
Should we scrap tenders as a whole?
I think so.
Okay. So not even as a pillar, just anything that government can hire people, like school teachers. Imagine if every school needed tenders for school teachers. Like, you're saying, no, insource do these things
the
as
people,
government.
let them work.
Okay.
Like, I'll give you an example. Nasipa, I think in Pretoria, in Tshwane,
yes.
She said she's insourcing a lot of things. The mayor there.
Yeah.
She's insourcing. I would prefer, because you give tenders to people, they're going to go and find the cheapest labor there is. And we all know those will be illegal people that we can account for as South Africans. And then now that 3,000 or 5,000 rands that could have come to a South African household is now going to Zimbabwe or Malawi or wherever it is, right? So now we are, by insourcing this tenderism or the people to work there, we are now employing South Africans that can come into the mainstream.
So preferential procurement out. We don't even want tenders as an example. So that's the one pillar.
Tenders, they can go.
Okay. Which are other pillars? Ownership?
I think ownership, guys, if you're starting something, especially, we get a lot of small businesses, not even the black ones, right? You would find that the white people, they start their own business and they're always scared that they have to give away their businesses. Because they put... because remember, a small business is in anybody that earns a revenue of less than 10 million a year, right? So this white person is working hard, and making ends meet, but now they're scared that they have to give away their business.
Yeah.
So instead of trying to grow that business so they can employ more people, they try and cap it because they know once they cross, now they're no longer a small business, now they are more like towards the medium business. So they're not going to try harder to build that business because they don't want to lose their money.
Yeah.
They can get away with that when they are below, 10 million. But now in order to open up industries, they now need to be offering
Do you
all
think
those things.
giving away equity is a bad thing as a concept? Or do you think the issue is the who is getting it?
No, I think people must not give anything for free.
Okay. So you don't believe in that ownership part, that companies should be giving equity to...
No, because what has it done? You just mentioned how you Shandukas. What has it done for us as South Africans?
Would you believe in giving ownership to employees? Because that's one of the counter arguments. Set up a trust, let the employees own a stake, but then you're still forcing someone to give their business.
Why do we need to force people to give business away?
They claim it's transformation.
But transformation can happen in a lot of ways.
Okay.
And for instance, if we don't force anybody to give any percentage of their business, but you force the EAPs, employment equity, for where you work, that there's so many people must work that are South African in your business, right? And it doesn't have to be females. It could be males also, because we cannot say all females in South Africa are employed, but the males are unemployed. I mean, like, what kind of balance?
Yeah, you're causing havoc in family.
Correct.
Yeah.
So let them employ South Africans. That's how we get equity. That's where people then learn. Let's have the skills development coming in, because what's going to happen? People are going to learn and get the bursaries. Like if I have a cleaner at Initium and they have a child that needs to go to varsity, let's give them a bursary for their child, so that at least the next generation is a bit educated. They can have more opportunities. See,
skills development you love.
I love.
Employment equity you love.
I love. And
enterprise development you love.
Enterprise and supply chain I love, because it's building up. It's like we have to buy paper whether we like it or not.
Yeah.
So why not get a young black guy or girl that can start a small business, and then they can start supplying us slowly. We're building them. They're getting more capacity. They're getting more money. And then they're getting training. And then the next thing, they can go now and supply somewhere else. And then that's how industries are born. That's where
it's a form of apprenticeship as well when it's done properly.
Correct. I mean, we teach people entrepreneurship at Initium, right? We have a program that is targeted at entrepreneurship.
It's at a cost.
Of course, it's at the cost.
Sorry,
obviously.
I'm trying to figure out for people that don't know. So you guys offer entrepreneurship. Besides, I need to start with you're looking for work.
Yes.
What we can connect you with.
Yes.
You're saying there's something else you do, which is teaching.
Yes, entrepreneurship.
So you teach entrepreneurship.
Correct.
How much is that currently?
No, we don't take money from people. We take money from corporates. Usually we'll find corporates. That's what I'm saying. We cannot take away skills development, because this is how you build the businesses. So what we do is we get somebody who has a passion for entrepreneurship, then we teach them and we help them actually open up their business while they're in that program.
Is there an age limit? You spoke about youth over 35.
Youth.
So you also discriminate against old people? Or it's just the requirements of
the requirements. It's the requirement from outside.
So that's something you change with skills development, that please open it up. Because there might be, I don't necessarily want to say umkhulu no gogo, but there's people in their 40s, 50s who need to learn these things because they have children, maybe even grandchildren.
Hey, maybe I'll do that for free if that old. Hey, I mean, I'm not that I'm an ageist, obviously, but practically, I mean, I like to be a lot more practical. I like the youth. It sounds wrong now.
We are fine almost government. Now you're discriminating.
No, in the sense that the young ones. Yeah. But I mean, like, there is also understanding with the older people, because they're doing this because they have experience. Yeah. So they know how life can also go wrong, right? So definitely, if there are people in their late 40s or whatever, maybe I'll just donate like a weekend or something and just do that for free for them. But for the corporates, they have certain age limits that we must adhere to.
Okay. No, I think that's all the questions I have. If you can please again emphasize the beginning of what you said Initium does, please re-emphasize the entrepreneurship you do and the type of talent or the type of people you're trying to get to come to you and teach them? And then anything else that you guys offer?
Okay. So Initium, we are mostly skills development. So we train, we are internships, learnerships, and all that. We partner up
Sorry,
with...
please slow it down because it is. Internship, learnership means you guys place people.
Correct.
That are unemployed.
Correct.
Young people.
Yes.
So under 35.
Yes. And we train them. So we deal a lot in the IT space.
Okay.
Yeah. So we teach your AI, software developer, your data science, your software engineer, your hard IT skills. Actually.
People must have qualifications.
Mostly we target those qualifications for graduates, especially in IT.
I'm just saying, someone listening to you is like, ish, I mean, I did accounting or I did marketing, so Initium is not for me.
No, Initium is definitely for you as well.
You're just saying the focus is IT.
We have a focus on IT, but we also have your marketing qualification, project management, your business admin. Those ones, we do open them to people with matric.
Just with matric?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Do you only operate in Johannesburg?
We operate in Johannesburg, but we also travel to the other provinces. Like we have clients in PE, in Durban, and so we go to them. I'm
trying to figure out, can kids from around the country contact you guys? Can you try? I'm based in, you mentioned PE. I'm based in PE, I'm unemployed. I'm young. Maybe I've got a little computer science qualification or marketing. Can I contact you guys? And if ever there's opportunities, then maybe I'll come to Joburg.
Of course, you can contact us.
Okay.
We are very much passionate about South African youth and trying to open those doors for them. But as much as we want to do that, the youth also needs to come to the party, because we cannot force you to do anything you don't want to do.
Yeah.
If you are happy getting your 350 from the government, or maybe you have 1 or 2 children, then you have 1,000 rands from the grants. Then
the money's piling up.
Yeah, then the money is piling up. Then you are happy. We can't.
Yeah.
But if you really you are serious about your future and you want to build, we're here for you. And we're not the only one. There are other people, other companies as well.
No, we don't need to market the other companies.
No,
there's no other companies. There's only Initium.
Yeah, but there are a lot of opportunities out there.
Yeah.
You don't have to sit at home and cry. Look for opportunities.
Is there a difference between internship and learnership?
Correct.
What's the difference?
The difference is a learnership is you are learning the full skill from the onset with us at Initium. And then once we feel that you are ready, we will place you. We will look. We have a team of people that will try and find you placement out there, like your foot through the door. And during that period, when you're in a learnership, you get a stipend from the corporate that is obviously paying that. You do get a stipend. We place you there. But then you have to prove yourself, right? That you can actually work. You can come on time to work. You can communicate with your manager. No one has to look out for you. You must not get too drunk. On Sunday, knowing very well that on Monday you have to go.
Don't get drunk at all. Not even too drunk. Why are you drinking on a Sunday evening?
I'm just saying, like the youth now is that they're going to say now we are giving them too many rules, huh? So
they can chill at home and collect the 350, 370.
Yeah. And then now, internship, it's more you are placed at the company that is funding you. You probably will maybe come for like a week or 2 weeks for us to give you work readiness so that you don't embarrass yourself out there, obviously. And, so to make sure that you have a good impression when you go out there.
That's where you're going to get the bulk of the DMs, by the way. And I'm sorry in advance.
Oh.
But they're coming.
Are they coming?
These young people that want what you guys are offering, that's going to be the bulk. The second part, you said you guys teach entrepreneurship.
Correct.
That's also for young people.
That's also for young people. We haven't opened it for the older generation, but it's something to think about. But the thing is, I'm loath to ask people to pay us money.
Yeah.
So we need to figure out how we could do that. But also on the same hand, if I were to open it up, a workshop for entrepreneurs that needs to come in and it's for free, then people say, I'll be there, and then they never pay. So it's a catch-22 thing.
No, of course. Sometimes you want people to pay just so that you almost wish but you wouldn't want them to know. You almost wish people could pay and then get a refund. Or maybe pay, you'll get your refund after attendance. I don't know. But yeah, creativity is needed. Because when people don't pay, they take things for granted. And worse, if they know there's food.
Yeah.
Aye, but they arrive late. but they make sure it's
yes. So I'm sure the team can figure out how to. But if we do have people that want to learn, and obviously they can't afford or they're not part of any, funding scheme, I'll ask the team to see what they can do around that.
You guys offer workshops, or is it like a 1 week or 2 week, or is it like a 1 day entrepreneurship thing?
No, it can't be a 1 day. You can't really learn entrepreneurship in 1 day.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. It will be a series of days.
Okay.
We'll have to.
People come in. We used to have the Branson Institute in Bram.
Mm-hmm.
Richard Branson, the founder of Virgin.
Mm-hmm.
It was for entrepreneurs or people with ideas. And I don't remember how long it was, maybe 6 weeks or 12 weeks or something. So I'm trying to figure out, would it be for kids who have ideas or kids who are like, look, I've started something, but I want to come in and learn. Do you offer stuff like that where they come in maybe on a weekend, 1 day, learn some stuff, go back, and then come and give feedback? Is it structured like that, or is it different?
No, it's not structured like that exactly. Yeah. So it's structured. There is 6 weeks. Yeah. Program, but you have to come attend every day.
Okay,
it's not
so
a weekend thing. Yeah, it's like school. I mean, because they're unemployed, they're sitting at home, they want to start their businesses, so it would be a full-on contact time.
Okay.
With us.
Okay. What else do you guys offer? Do you offer anything else?
I think that's it.
What else
do you offer?
So we're gonna get your email, your website, so that we can crash your website.
Please don't crash it.
People must contact you guys through Initium.
Correct.
They mustn't contact individuals.
No, please.
Via IG and hey.
Yes, please.
I just wanted to say.
No, please, not individuals. Because when you do that, now you're opening up yourself to be scammed. Because now people are going to be saying, oh no, we saw, like we're from this, and the next give us 1,000 rands, you'll have an opportunity. And whoever listens, we never ever ask you for money at Initium.
Sure. Okay.
Because we understand where we're coming from. We all had to have an opportunity, or we were all given, BBBEE as well, we were all given an opportunity at some stage.
Nothing else you want to close with? Want to send a shout out to my kids, to my husband. I hope the kids have eaten.
No, they're fine. They know they're loved. So I don't need to. Yeah.
Nothing else? No shout outs?
No, nothing else. Oh, thank you to the team at Initium. Really appreciate them. We have good bunch of people.
Do you hire men?
Of course.
Jaja.
Of course we hire men.
One security.
No.
Or the cleaner.
No.
Do you guys hire men?
Yeah,
I meet female-led companies where you walk in and you feel like a minority.
Hi, Bongo.
You get in there and you're like, I'm so sorry, ladies, that I'm here.
We have men.
Yeah.
We are actually we've been looking for. Can I say it?
No, don't say it. You're going to get in trouble.
I'm going to get in trouble.
Or you want to tell me off camera?
Yeah, I'll tell you off camera.
Something exciting?
No.
For men?
No, we are looking for men.
Are they stripping dead? Oh, sorry.
No. Not personally, not in my personal. I'm not looking for a man personally.
Sure.
But the organization, we are open. Actually, we have a few slots available right now. We are looking for a software trainer, developer. Males are always good in that.
Sure.
Not that I'm discriminating women. Ish, wasami. See now, yabona manje they're saying yabona sishilo ukuthi lo uzokhuluma izinto yabo manje.
Sorry.
Please, I maybe cut that. I'm gonna get into trouble.
Nothing else.
So we have a few things that are open. We have opportunities, so people must just holler at us, know, especially if in the IT space or procurement space or supply chain space. We've been looking for some experts around that area.
Partners or people that are keen to increase your footprint across the country, are you open to that? People being like, we need something like this in KZN, Eastern Cape, Free State, Limpopo, Western Cape. Can we partner with you? Can we open an Initium in our province, in our city? You capacitate us. Are you guys open to that? Or you're like, no, we just want to focus on where we are?
We're open to partnering up around the country.
Yeah.
QCTO, our ATQA, is very strict though, because when we have to literally go through auditing process to make sure that you have the right resources to be obviously offering these courses that we offer out there. So yes, we are looking, but it is obviously an investment into doing that.
Sure.
So they can holler at us and see how we can partner up or how we can help them do it themselves. I mean, like, it doesn't have to be Initium. It could be whoever wants some assistance out there.
Okay. Buhle Su, you guys, nothing, we must send a shout out to the peeps out there. Nothing, you guys are happy? The colleagues must stop stealing the milk in the fridge. No. Thank you so much. By the way, this water is sponsored by H2O, man. I just want to send a shout out to them. I can't believe I've got a sponsor, considering how controversial I am.
Well done.
But thank you so much, Sis Lungile. I appreciate this. I'm going to put all your details in the description. And then I'm going to use my social media platforms to send this out, because the work you're doing is not important and great. It's actually necessary. This is not like a want. This is not like, do you want to learn how to code? This is like, young people are unemployed. Families are hungry.
Yeah.
This is an opportunity. Come with your qualification. Let's vet you. Let's see what skills you have or where you're falling short. Let us give you real feedback. If we feel we can give you a learnership, let's do that. Let's get you ready. Let's see if we can place you. When we place you, please don't make us look bad. Make us look really dope. And then go work and go and start your career. And you guys are doing that. You're like it's not a Cupid. Cupid connects lovers, né? But you're like, I don't know, man, like an employment Cupid of sorts. If you are willing to be a good partner to a corporate, we can make it happen. And we'll upskill you. And if you're not into corporate and you want to start a business, you guys are like, we can also help you guys with this entrepreneurship thing.
Correct.
6 weeks, we'll train you, we'll teach you, and then we'll see where else you can assist you.
Yeah.
And shout out, man, to Ute Dumbe.
Yes, Dumbe. Yes.
Shout out to everyone at Dumbe. We love you guys. Thank you so much, Sis
No,
Dumbe.
thank you so much for having me here and the team. Obviously, really appreciate it.
Thank you.